Hey everyone, Rarity Dash here, and it's time for another reaction request. If you have a video that you would like me to react to, check the description below. There's a link that'll take you to a Google document with all of the relevant information. So today we're looking at a top 10 list from Joshscorcher, who is a content creator that we've reacted to on this channel many times now, but it's been a while. I mean, starting out, we used to always look at his MLP content, but this is not MLP. This is the top 10 weirdly sexy bosses. And I assume we mean bosses in video games. Not really sure what's going to be on this list, though. Yeah. I don't know what we mean by weirdly sexy. Like, I'm curious, though. I'm very curious about this concept to see what we're getting into here. Yeah. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot of games that I'm not familiar with, because, I mean, I've kind of been in my JRPG bubble for a while, and I don't only rarely step outside. I mean, there is stuff, like, I do a lot of Metroidvania and some other stuff that I touch on, fighting games here and there. But, yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be a lot of stuff, mostly stuff that I'm not that familiar with. But we'll see. Let's see if I agree, if I actually find these sexy. We'll find out soon enough. I believe I got this up. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Top 10 weirdly sexy bosses. Fiery Joker Productions presents...
to love, so let's just dance.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as they say. What seems like a beast to some may just be a beauty to others. We don't try to judge others for what they perceive as sexy, so instead, in honor of the month of love, we're paying tribute to the bosses that are sexy, in a way that no one can describe, but just feels right for some reason. A few ground rules. First of all, absolutely no underage characters. You gotta be this tall to get on the Love Boat, kiddies. Second, we'll be choosing our rankings based on two factors. One, why do people find this attractive?
And that's not even strangely sexy. That's just
shame. Just need the blanks
cute.
filled in. Two, how much erotica is there surrounding them? Are they sensational, or do they just have that subtle something? Finally, and this is a big one, we're not limiting ourselves to
also,
just one gender.
Is it even strange there? Like, she's fine.
Male, female, non-binary, it doesn't matter to us as long as they got that special something that's bound to thrill someone. But admittedly, I realized I was out of my depth for a lot of
that's disturbing.
To try and help explain a few of those particular ones where I just have absolutely no frame of reference.
And now, let's start the countdown. The one where we see how long it takes for us to get demonetized.
You knew exactly what you were getting into as soon as you came up with the title.
The gods will bless us, won't they?
Kicking off this list is a 2-for-1 special with two eerily identical ladies from the same franchise. Chaos Witch Kolog from Dark Souls 1 and Scorpioness Nachka from Dark Souls 2. I say eerily identical.
Only
because
played
they
Dark
both
Souls
come from
3.
different backgrounds. Kolog was once a daughter of the series' overarching baddie, but became corrupt.
I'm sure there was some sort of kind of hot, weird monster girl in that too.
Meanwhile, Nachka was once human before she and her lover were transformed into scorpion hybrids. She was a peaceful lady before she lost her mind and went completely feral. Kolog prefers to use her swordsmanship and fiery magic, while Nachka prefers dark magic, her spears and her 2 stingers.
So yeah, not exactly two sides of the same coin, but they both have one thing in common. A complete disregard for shirts. Oh, and they're also both monstrous arachnid beasts from the waist down. Already it's easy to see.
I mean, it's not that strange to me. It's just kind of like a classic centaur type things.
They're both very alluring ladies with hair growing out of their bosoms. That's how it works, right? On the other hand, they're attached to creepy crawlies that want to murder you. And it's even worse if you're an arachnophobe. On the other hand, there's definitely an appeal for attractive people with animal legs, like with merfolk and centaurs.
Yeah,
What do
yeah.
you
it's-
ask?
Why couldn't she be
Similar.
the other kind of mermaid with the fish part on
Been
top
around
and the
f-
lady
oh.
part on the bottom?
I actually don't want to think about that with spiders and scorpions. So
Yeah, that would be
not a
much,
lot to
much
say about
worse.
These two, just that they're crawling embodiments of a siren, luring us in with their beauty, then looking to tear us limb from limb with their literal wild side. But hey, overlook the arachnid halves, and you still got two corrupt, feral psychopaths. Yeah, I guess it really is just a matter of taste. I mean, we got quite a few anime shows about this, so it's tapping into
Yeah.
something.
Gotta love the monster girls.
Oh, Carmelita Montoya, I have a different voice actress every game, Fox. I mean, come on, they don't even try to get a sound alike?
Now, aside from the anthropomorphic fox thing, it's not hard to see why Carmelita is attractive. She's a feisty, kick-ass
Yeah.
lady who dresses quite interestingly, and no one can say she doesn't have the figure for it. To really hammer the point in, they have her dressed in a shorter skirt and a belly dancer outfit.
Yeah, what makes this weird? This is
They're not
just
even
a
trying to
standard
hide it.
furry.
Of course, her just being a foxy lady in a more literal sense wouldn't be enough to get her on the list. I mean, we're
Yeah.
kind of cheating as is, since the boss isn't really Carmelita, but the Mask of Dark Earth. But technicalities are for other lists.
Speaking of the Mask of Dark Earth, normally it makes those who wear it a bit larger and a lot more aggressive, thanks to the chemicals in Bentley's sleeping darts somehow interacting with the magic mask. Okay, Sly Cooper is silly, sometimes don't question it. Carmelita goes from a
Oh.
larger to full-on giantess.
Okay.
And giantess.
Yeah, that's hitting some boxes for some people.
Coupons.
Sexy coupons.
The boss fight then consists of Sly shimmying up Carmelita's clothes to get at the mask.
Okay, well that's
I
yeah.
assume Sucker Punch was on some good stuff when they came up with that, because I don't think I could come up with anything half as bizarre while sober.
I'll give credit, this is one of the few fights in the series that makes full use out of Sly's perk as a sneaky platformer, especially since he's not always built for one-on-one combat. Not to say those can't be just as great, but who would have thought you'd find one that complements Sly's style in a battle against his ultramanized girl-frenemy? Well, however this came about, an Anthrofox giantess is definitely deserving of a spot on a strangely sexy list, if a low one.
Yeah.
There's plenty stranger yet to come.
When will you people realize that robots are erotic?
Metaton is a celebrity of the underground, built by Alphys and modified into a human killing machine. He's a showrunner, a performer, and a comedian. And like most comedians, he loves his black humor, putting you through fake quizzes, a race to bake a pre-baked cake, and a theater show. That leads to a callback to Papyrus's Maze. Toby either has really high expectations for our intelligence or a really low one.
Either way, it's awesome. You could see his celeb status is no bluff. People really do adore him. So much so, his face is on all their merchandising. Some even unironically find him physically attractive.
Okay, Ari, could you please explain to me why this glorified calculator is considered sexy?
Well, you see, darling, they look past the robot and see only the inner David Bowie.
Oh, yes.
Exactly. Embrace the inner stardust and dance magic, darling. Embrace.
When you finally confront Metaton for real, you see his EX form. A stylish android with a knack for dancing. Between his luscious fringe, narrow waist, and extensive legs, he is the pinnacle of glamour. Heck, this whole fight is centered around showing off how tactical you can be. Taking the interest of audiences into account and using it to increase the viewership ratings. All the while, Metaton attacks with his brand of tricky moves as you shoot through his projectiles and foresee him rewinding his attacks.
Even as his body slowly crumbles, it hardly deters his performance skills. He fights on for the sake of his pride as the underground's majestic shining star.
Ah, who needs arms when you have legs like these? I'm still going to win.
Metaton is a performer who's absolutely worth
I don't know what it is.
Built
Undertale never really
style, humor, and
had any sort of
confidence
appeal
on
to me.
stage. No matter how low he falls, he'll always leave a Metaton-shaped hole in our Metaton-shaped hearts.
No more heroes. The fun, if not crazy, very crazy, hack and slash made by genius, unique game designer, Suda51. Travis, being the horny otaku he is, spends the first 2 games trying to get laid. And that's about it. No, I'm
Very
just kidding.
short.
He kills a lot of people too. Fitting for this list, but it's the sexy head of the Assassins Association, Sylvia, that he wants to get with. Try saying that 5 times fast. Too bad, because there are plenty of assassins he could stick his sword through. He just does it with his katana instead.
I'll admit, most of the assassins are pretty normal looking, excluding Heroes 3, with characters like Alice, Badgirl, and John being standouts to fans. But then we have the poison-spitting inmate from No More Heroes 2 that really wants to stick her tongue down Travis's throat.
I know I already used this joke when Chloe was an honorable mention, but...
Toxic love.
Chloe, while she is a pretty attractive person, all things considered, the problem comes with her personality.
Great outfit.
She's a sadistic assassin that shrieks like a banshee and spits acid like she's a muck. She uses her looks and sex appeal to lure people in, only to immobilize them with her shrieks, and then tries to kill them with an acid tongue bath. So she's a re-dead with acid attacks. A sexy re-dead with acid saliva.
Yeah.
Now that images in my head. Thanks.
Doesn't seem that strange to me.
Alone, people find her attractive, but there's a certain finesse of the banshee siren way she acts that brings people to her side. Heck, Travis freed her so he could get some, but turned out she isn't his type. Luckily, a well-timed sword katana activation helped get her off of him. Guess Travis does like it a bit. Yeah, this entry's getting weird.
Chloe doesn't have a lot of screen time, and she's one of the easiest bosses in the game, but the first cutscene where she's introduced left a strong impression on a lot of people, hence why she's here. Just remember, if you see a girl locked away in a prison in the middle of an isolated island, do not free her, no matter what Travis tells you.
Yeah, probably good advice there.
Horror is something most of us find subjective. Different things scare different people, and some find one method of horror much more jarring than the other. Whether it's dark, creeping ambiences, big, empty voids, or disdain for a particular type of animal or object.
Regardless of what scares you, though, I think we can all agree on a single primal form of horror. Something that strikes fear into the hearts of even the bravest, most stalwart person out there. The unspeakable, unfathomable terror that is... a white woman!
Doc! Samus's cousin put on her fursuit again!
Vanessa is the security guard patrolling the Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex. She's the first human NPC to be fully featured in a FNAF game, which is kind of jarring considering the only human NPC beforehand was behind a speakerphone. She appears hostile at first, strictly looking for Gregory, to the point where he's even scared of her. But looking through some of her personal info, you can see she's just a security lady doing her job and living her life, all the while dealing with her own episodes of depression.
Adding to that caviar of cryptic, you're haunted by the presence of Vanny, a bunny suit cosplayer who's been hacking the animatronics to attack Gregory. Essentially picking up from Help Wanted after she's brainwashed by Glitch Trap. There are theories speculating whether Vanny and Vanessa are the same person or not. They share the similar names, show up consecutively, and never physically appear together. One of the endings allude to them being two different people, possibly twins, as one dies while the other is still alive. But it could also allude to Vanessa's spirit looking down to her own demise, given how she's standing calmly within the burning pizzaplex. Whatever the reason may be, it sure adds to the fascinating connotations around Vanessa and her alter ego complex. Or rather, her sister's alter ego complex.
This series hates clarity almost as much as I hate puns.
Almost.
I guess in a game series where getting turned on by animatronics has become such of a norm, there's something weirdly endearing about an average security lady sticking out among them like a sore thumb. Though as Vanny, she does have the animatronic spirit going for her, prancing around in a suit until you enter her line of vision and she, alas, remembers to kill you.
It's easy to get excited over a pretty woman who may or may not be a serial killing furry, but it's underwhelming that you don't even encounter her that often. Heck, her AI is one of the worst in the game, so you won't even get caught by her unless you really didn't pay enough attention to your surroundings, or go out of your way to let her do so. Then again, with how big and cultured the community is, I don't doubt that the latter has happened a fair amount of times.
Gosh!
AKA Christmas time for Ari.
Yes, every once in a while, even I, a notorious pun hater, must grin and bear it for the sake of my audience. Especially when it involves a game practically founded by puns, i.e. Enter the Gungeon. A weird combination of bullet hell and roguelike games about four adventurers that traverse through a gun-happy dungeon.
I've heard the name before, but I didn't even know what it looks like. It looks pretty fun.
And shoot through some of the weirdest freaking bosses you'll ever see. Yeah, this
Like, I look at the style of this. This is cool.
And yet, it's kind of brilliant with what it is. It's creative. It's bizarre,
I used to be really
it's top,
scared
which
of
kinda
bullet
leads to
hell,
our
but
boss for this entry. Within the first
I mean, I
chamber,
play the Survivor's
Red
like now.
Lord,
So yeah, that's
we
kind of
stumble
similar.
upon a nest with a Gatling gun in it. Then a giant bird swoops down and grabs the gun and...
Those are some innocent pigs. Yeah, this is what we're dealing with, folks. Gatling Gull, a muscular bird-headed thing with a Gatling gun. This has got to be one of, if not the stupidest thing I've ever seen wielding a firearm. This week.
Right. Yes, I see.
Okay.
But consider
Star cutaway.
abs.
Okay, she's got me there. This oversized chicken is literally taking us to the gun show. It's got muscles for days and hairy armpits. It's a massive ball of testosterone. So if you're the kind of gal or guy who likes the burly type and doesn't mind a deranged bird head, then Gatling Gull is absolutely...
Nope, threshold has been filled.
Ooh, does that mean that I get to do the rest of the video on my own?
I'm better now.
I'm not.
Enter the Gungeon is really freaking weird.
I hear this country's where they do the dance of the seven bells.
I've always wanted to get into this series. I mean, it looks really cool to me.
The censor on our tails.
Yeah, I guarantee at least some of you saw this one coming. The Shantae series practically screams fan service all wrapped up in a fun platforming game. Our half-genie hero herself is video gaming's own Barbara Eden with a revealing ensemble and most of her magic being cast by belly dancing, which is actually pretty good exercise from what I've been told. But what do I know? Exercise. But don't think the fan service stops with just her. Ooh, no. A good
I love the
chunk of
animation on that
series
one. That looks
are
cool.
easy
The
on
art
the
style.
eyes and generous with the skin. Giga Mermaid, Risky Boots, Color Swap Shantae, I mean Nega Shantae.
Yeah, nothing weird about any of
Choice
these.
for this list.
Rottytops, the free-spirited, mischievous zombie gal, and arguably one of the most developed characters in the series. She likes messing with people.
Also not weird.
Brains. Shantae's brains, to be
I mean,
precise.
I'm used to
Yeah,
used
she's
to Ollie.
not exactly a bad person.
Zombie
Sentient
girls.
Corpse, whatever. The only time
Also-
she's really a boss or enemy is in the original Shantae game, where you have to race her through the graveyard. If you win, she'll help you through the dungeon. If you lose, she gets your brains. Here's the thing, though. Even if you lose, she'll give you the option to try again, which proves she's not purely evil. Just a little shit sometimes. After that, the preceding games show Roddy evolve from a cheeky little cadaver to a lonely little carcass and one of Shantae's closest friends. She's even a playable character in the Half-Genie Hero DLC.
Well, that's cool.
She's a great character, but what makes her weirdly sexy? You got eyes, you tell me.
Roddy's already got an attractive design. Following the franchise's traditional generous amount of skin showing whilst rocking the short shorts and tank top, she's also not afraid to get a little skimpier in later games. On the other hand, she's a zombie. Her skin's rotting green, her limbs are all stitched on, some better than others, and she can take off her head to recite Shakespearean quotations, or to use as a shot put.
And of course, there's the whole issue of if being attracted to her counts as necrophilia since she's
I guess, I mean, but...
dead. Or would it be reverse necrophilia since she's undead? Or does it even matter since she's a video game character and not actually real?
You know what? Debate this in the comments. I don't care.
I do. The salt feeds my soul.
At the end of the day, you gotta choose. Do you suppress your feelings for Rotty out of fear that they're kinda illegal? Or do you take the chance and pine for a free-spirited, kinda cheeky gal? Of course, at the latter, you'll also be running the risk of her wanting to eat your brains. The things we do for love.
Yeah, I need to try that series. Like that.
Alright, time for
Looks like a lot of
waifu
fun.
emblem. So, what's it gonna be?
Oh.
Valadar? Iago? Garneth? I mean, can't be that weird, right?
I cannot blame you for wanting to touch guardian of beauty as with those who are beautiful.
No.
Eh, screw it. Let's go all in.
Welcome to the beauty that is Oliver. Inferior beings must stand
Are we
up
really
to
doing
the
this?
exquisite form before you. He puts on the radiance and the radiant duology. Without him, the Fire Emblem series as we know it would cease to exist, as there is no waifus without Oliver. He was first introduced in Path of Radiance as a generous man, helping out the poor herons after their forest was destroyed by the peasants.
That's not how I remember it.
Save the unrivaled beauty of the herons. Unrivaled save Oliver. He selflessly went on a mission to find the remaining ones and keep them safe in his own abode. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
the goddess's favorite star was stopped in his divine mission by the low-born, vulgar, penurious vermin Ike, who attempted to strike down the Oliver in all of their elegance. Luckily, the land did not weep that day, as the Adonis that is Oliver was saved by his fellow senators. He had to withdraw from society for 3 whole years. How painful that must have been for the world. The tears that were shed in the absence of such beauty were immeasurable to count. Even the goddess Ashera could not contain her emotions for such an event, and when she awakened, turned all of the imperfections into statue, save of course, Oliver and his compatriots. Unfortunately, the vermin led by the villain Ike were spared by the lesser goddess Yune, and they confronted the allurement that is Oliver. And so, Oliver bravely fought against the tides of the vermin with all his strength. But when the noble heron on the opposite team fell on the encompassing eye of the grace that is Oliver, he leapt to action to bravely protect the noble bird from the bloody weapons of his own troops. An action so noble that even the villain Ike sang praise for our stylized hero, so much so that he even jest the shapeliness that is Oliver should go back to the opposing side as he could not handle the symmetry that is Oliver. This act of heroism shows that even when it comes to the protection of beauty, the glamour, the polish, the beauty that is Oliver will strike down any foe, even the goddess herself!
With what? The glare from his head?
Despite Oliver's inherent selfishness and misplaced vanity, his ego is so inflated that it almost comes off as charming. Almost. He's a meme, but one that really shows the different interpretation of the many characters.
None of this equals sexy, I think, to
Really
anyone.
attract
Does it?
Male and female characters. Oliver is a breath of fresh air. I can't believe I just said that. And when he was introduced in Heroes, well, must I say more?
Okay, well, that's
That
funny.
was
That's
part of the Lagoo slave trade. Yeah, we're not forgetting that.
I think that's a bit outside. I mean, that was funny. That was a funny bit. But I think that's a bit outside the scope of this list. I don't... like, charming, yes. I can see it, kind of. Even though he's a terrible person and... I don't know. I don't know about that one. Like, I don't think we made the case there for him to be on this list.
Now we're really getting into the weird ones. The previous entries, for the most part, had conventionally attractive traits, or were at least human. Waluigi, on the other hand, looks like he was on the receiving end of a fountain punch. So
this makes more sense to me than Oliver.
Well, people like an underdog and someone who can bust a move get sexy points.
But it's Waluigi!
You asked me to explain it, not to make you agree with it.
He's tall.
No!
Well, it's simple. Waluigi's got legs for days. And if there's one thing the Onceler has taught us, it's that stick-thin characters tend to get certain people hot and bothered. Emo hair or not. Another thing Waluigi has going for him is his underdog status. Seriously, it's
never seen that movie, but I've heard some of Callie's rants about the Onceler.
Waluigi has never
that stream she did with Shiori.
If there's one thing we've seen, it's certain minor characters
a lot about
that are
that.
massively popular.
Being such a minor character, Waluigi has had limited appearances as a boss fight. While he appeared as a villain in Mario Party 3, you never actually had a battle against him one-on-one. But the battle that we think really catapulted him into potential husbando status was in DDR Mario Mix, where suddenly...
I didn't even know there was a DDR Mario game.
Of Wrecking Crew.
Is that why people want him in Smash? So they can smash?
You ruined it. You ruined it and I'm leaving.
I should get a cookie for making him leave so many times.
With that said, Waluigi avoids being number one due to the relative lack of pieces made of him. So while he definitely has fangirls and boys, they're very much a rare breed. Then again, any Mario character's horniness potential is dwarfed by the breakout success of Bowsette.
If the potential for a waifu exists, people will make one.
This is the G-rated version of Rule 63.
There's a quote in the film.
Gotta love Bowsette.
It goes, "The pain will leave you once it's finished teaching."
Honorable mentions,
Macho
huh?
DDD, Kirby Star Allies.
Oh.
Goes from extra thick to extra ripped.
Copperhead, Arkham Origins. Yeah, she's literally toxic, but apparently snakes can be sexy.
Lies!
Ultra Green, Binding of Isaac. It's all the butt. Simple as that.
Oogie Boogie, Oogie's Revenge. The walking bag of bugs might be a deal breaker, but that voice.
Fontina, Pokemon Gen 4. Yeah, she needs an attitude adjustment and a haircut, but you can't say she doesn't strut her stuff.
What's weird about her? I mean, I guess I never played the game, but...
Alright, for our number 1 entry, we have a Silent Hill character.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sexy nurses?
Oh, it's gonna be the Pyramid Head, isn't it? Yeah.
Is this a similar thing to how people thought the Babadook or Pennywise were sexy?
Boy, you asking the wrong person.
Pyramid Head, one of the most iconic video game enemies of all time. In terms of both explicit and implicit horror, he's got it all. From his massive knife to his freakishly huge helmet, everything about him just screams, run. In the story, Pyramid Head is a recurring boss that shows up to torment James throughout the story. With every turn you take, there's always the possibility that he could be waiting for you.
It's not until the end where we finally learn the origin of Pyramid Head. As it turns out, James suppressed the memory of killing his wife, Mary. Spoilers? This game is like 20 years old? This
I've never played it.
Internalize his guilt and Pyramid Head is the
wasn't 20 on it, though.
James' need for punishment. No, not that kind of punishment, jeez. So with all this said, you probably noticed we avoided explaining what people find sexy about him. Here's our answer.
I don't know!
I know what we said about Waluigi, but Pyramid Head's even more improbable. What about this living embodiment of self-hatred screams good bedfellow? I guess you could argue that he's really handsome under that.
Got some,
still, yet as shown by
buff
the
arms, I guess. He's
based on
muscular.
There's clearly something that people find attractive about him. Though, does it really count when many of those pics are just a super jacked guy wearing a Pyramid Head helmet?
Looking back on it, we did see plenty of thirst over the Babadook and Pennywise, so it's not like this was a one-time deal. Or who knows, maybe it's just the whole thrill of the kill thing that gets their engines running. To be perfectly serious, I don't think that there's anything wrong with a person if they find these characters attractive. Everyone's gonna have some oddly specific thing that turns them on. Besides, I'd rather have people be lusting over video game monsters as opposed to real-life serial killers.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Here for the food.
And, that was a long and hard countdown to get through.
What?
Cut!
Alright. And somehow Pyramid Head. That makes more sense to me than Oliver.
Hey everyone, this is Josh. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share the video around. Please check out my other social media like my Twitter, Twitch, and Tumblr. Check out my other channels such as Joshua Burner for reactions and other stuff, Dragon Fighter Gaming for tabletop, and Bob Equestria for cartoons. Consider checking below the video and donating to my Patreon, Streamlabs for my merchandise, or becoming a YouTube member. Thanks for watching.
Can't help but notice how the video has 69k views. Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, a lot of characters I wasn't familiar, but some that I was. I mean, I guess being the big Fire Emblem fan paid off a little bit. At least I know who Oliver is, so that one bit was not lost on me, even though I still don't get the reasoning for including him. But yeah, that was interesting. I enjoyed it. Good video. Been a while since I've watched anything from Josh, but yeah, I like his content, and yeah, definitely would be down to watch more. Anyway, hope you guys liked the reaction. Let me know if you did, and see you in the next one.